Super Saiyan 3 is trash. Super Saiyan 3 was first introduced as a way to stall time. Yeah, let that sink in. It wasn't used to have this trump card to defeat a villain or anything like that. No, it was literally used to stall for time while Trunks went and got the Dragon Radar in West City because Boo was about to blow it up, right? So hypothetically, let's say the exact same scenario happens, but instead of Goku instant transmitting to Boo and using Super Saiyan 3 and accomplishing nothing except dwindling his time down that he has left on Earth for the last time ever, he instead instant transmits to go get the Dragon Radar, instant transmits back to the palace, boom, the whole problem is solved in 2 seconds. But instead, they just had to have Goku fight Boo so that he could reach Super Saiyan 3 for literally no reason, and then barely even have the upper hand in the fight. He had like a 60-40 advantage over Boo. And, like, if you want to be really generous, a 70-30 advantage, but really, it was pretty much an even fight. Goku got a couple licks in, Boo got a couple licks in. It really wasn't anything spectacular. And then later on, after Boo's in one of his final forms, Goku goes on to say that Super Saiyan 3 could have easily defeated Boo. What? No, it could not have. If you look at the power dynamics and how much the power ramped from the start of when Boo was still in his fat form to any of his later forms, then it's so drastic. If he performed that way that he did against Boo when he was in Super Saiyan 3 for the first time, he would not have been able to defeat any of the later stages of Boo. There's an argument for defeating the first one, but I disagree because I don't think he would have been strong enough to completely disintegrate every single one of his cells. That's just my opinion. That's up for debate. That isn't 100% concrete. I personally disagree with Goku. I think that he was just being arrogant in that moment, really, or maybe even just trying to play up the whole, oh, he's super powerful, way more powerful than he was, early on in the arc, which either way, it still doesn't equate to meaning very much. But enough of me rambling. The real issue with Super Saiyan 3 is that it pretty much destroyed the integrity of the first two Super Saiyans and then started a trend of having a new Super Saiyan form every time that they needed to defeat a new villain, which is why it's a meme about how, every time there's a new villain, just get a new Super Saiyan form. If they really wanted to utilize Super Saiyan 3 in the way that they did, which is kind of like using it to show that Boo was super strong and even Super Saiyan 3 couldn't take him down instantaneously, Super Saiyan 3 wasn't very necessary for that. Like I said, it just took away the integrity of the first two. However, they introduced a new power-up in this arc, which was the untapped potential or the unleashed potential or whatever you want to call it, and that could have been used as that stepping stone to show even though this person got this huge increase, they still aren't enough to defeat Boo. Let me talk about the Gohan versus Teen Boo fight. I think that's what they're referring to, but his slimmer form where he's still pretty large. But anyways, Gohan and him fight. Gohan has the upper hand with the untapped potential until he ends up absorbing Gotenks in his Super Saiyan 2 form and absorbing Piccolo as well, boosting his intelligence. Super cool way to increase his power. However, they never let Gohan go into Super Saiyan, let alone Super Saiyan 2 against this guy. If he went into either of those forms, I could guarantee you he would have been a match for Boo, and even if he wasn't able to defeat him, he still would have been able to have enough time for Goku to get back onto Earth with the whole Lord of Lords giving him his life deal, if you still want to go down that route. And then they could go ahead and fuse together. It was even stated that the two people Goku could fuse with was Gohan and or Vegeta. And they ended up going with Vegeta, even though earlier on in the arc they stated that he was never ever going to be able to even go into the afterlife because he wouldn't have a soul, he wouldn't have a body for the soul to go back to. But lo and behold, all the normie fans got what they wanted, and Vegeta came back and fused with Goku. Trash. Vegeta should never have came back. He should have stayed dead after he used that final flash. Not saying that I don't like Vegeta, but his character arc ended there, and there was literally nothing else that he could have done as a character to improve or grow. He's just going to remain static. And yes, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, it makes everything redundant. It continues on the trend of making deaths and sacrifices meaningless in the series. Personally, I would have went with Gohan and Goku fusing together. They had some concept art for this in one of the chapters, and it looked really good. One comment I've heard when I've introduced the whole aspect of Goku and Gohan fusing together instead of Vegeta, they always say, well, he wouldn't change appearance at all, and therefore he wouldn't really have his own distinguishing factors about him. I don't really think that that's a big factor. Appearances aren't everything. If appearances were everything, Super Saiyan 3 would be the second coolest transformation behind Super Saiyan 4. But instead, it's pretty much the worst Super Saiyan transformation, regardless of it looking pretty aesthetically pleasing. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about two characters, and they don't have anything to do with the Buu saga, but I'm going to make an analogy about them. Kefla and Kale. They ended up quote-unquote earning Super Saiyan. The first time that we meet them, they just instantly learn it, instantly learn the second transformation, and just have no problems doing it, no catalyst, no battle, no Zenkai boosts, just straight up snap and boom, they know Super Saiyan, just like that. That's why a lot of people dislike those characters, is because they didn't earn their power, and they didn't really have much of a story arc at all that grew their characters. It's the same with Super Saiyan 3 transformation with Goku. He did nothing to earn it, and then he goes on to say, oh, I could only do this because I was dead. And then later on, when he gets revived, he goes on to use Super Saiyan 3 again. It doesn't make any sense. You could make the argument that he could use it while he's alive. That was never stated that he couldn't do it. However, he said that it would just drain too much of his life force. Later on, going into Super, he's still going strong. No life force taken away from him. All the other characters are like getting really old, and he has like 2 grandchildren already, and they're just like, yeah, Ultra Instinct. And that's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not saying he shouldn't be able to do it because he's old. I'm saying that pretty much the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, one of the biggest themes was letting the next generation take over and letting them be the ones who could pretty much surpass Goku. Gohan, throughout the entire series of Z, was stated and shown to be stronger than Goku, have more potential than Goku, and then later on in the Cell arc was shown to surpass Goku after Goku's death. And then, on top of all of that, when Goku talks about being able to defeat Buu in his Super Saiyan 3 form, he's like, oh no, I didn't want to, because I wanted the younger generation to be able to defeat him, even though it was literally stated that Buu never took a single bit of damage that he couldn't resorb during his fight with Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I think that's a load of horseshit. Goku could not have defeated Buu. I feel like all the Buu saga was just fan service. I mean, I enjoyed the comedy and everything, but it was really hard to take it seriously when, even in the middle of fights, they were just completely throwing seriousness out the window. Now, it makes sense in terms of Goten's character and Fat Buu's character, but every other instance of this just doesn't fit. But let me finish up what I gotta say about Super Saiyan 3. Goku, you are dead. You should stay dead. I love you, but Gohan is a better character, and the series would make 100% more sense if Gohan continued to lead as the main character after the Cell saga. You cannot make an argument that Gohan was not supposed to be the main character after the Cell Saga. Even the first couple of episodes of Z was literally all about Gohan being stronger than Goku. You can make the argument that the entirety of the Frieza saga was all about Goku, and therefore he wasn't the main focus of the entirety of Z. However, that is true, but Goku was still the main character. Gohan was still... He's around 8 years old at this point in the series, and he was shown to beat the shit out of one of Frieza's forms. And Gohan was in his base form. And the Cell Saga happens. We all know what happened in that saga. Goku was stated to never be able to return back to life. Gohan surpasses him. And that should be the end of it. Now, if they want to continue on with the series and still have the same Buu saga with all the same characters and everything like that, they could have gone down a very similar route. Could have done a lot of the same stuff that they did in the Buu saga already. But for me, in terms of the series and having the whole series as a whole flow better and not be fan servicey almost with having Goku be the main character, keep Goku there, have him return for a day or whatever, have him fight Vegeta, have Vegeta still end his arc the same way with the Final Flash, and then make the untapped potential work the same way. However, enable Gohan to reach that Super Saiyan and the Super Saiyan 2 form against Buu and see what happens. If you really want to have Goku come back, like really, really bad, you could have him come back, fuse with Gohan after he reaches Kid Buu state. However, I don't think this would happen if the writers made Gohan continue on with his growth and actually have his growth from the Cell Saga actually mean something and impact his character later on in the series. For instance, he learned in that saga not to get arrogant or cocky with the fact that he is stronger than his opponent, because his opponent will take something away from him, take every advantage he has away from him. That's how Goku died, is because Gohan got arrogant and he didn't finish Cell when he should have. If they continue on and give him that growth and let him keep it, Buu probably wouldn't even reach Kid Buu stage. But of course it's Dragon Ball, something always has to go wrong so that there could be another twist. The twist I would make for recreating the Buu saga would be that there's no Super Saiyan 3, and there's never going to be a Super Saiyan 3. It's useless in more ways than one. Oh yeah, and let me talk about this. Why does Gohan not know the Kaioken, and why is the Kaioken completely ignored until Super? If Super Saiyan God can go Kaioken, Super Saiyan 1 and 2 should be able to go Kaioken. All I gotta say, Gohan should have been the one to think about that and do it, because of his, him being a scholar, being this super smart guy or whatever. They should have enabled him to be able to use his wits to be able to defeat these opponents instead of going on the trend of just power ramping every single time that they meet a new villain. Anyways, whatever, I'll stop rambling.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.